Now, the rest of the story.
Welcome to winter January update, and of course it's going to be about the cows. They are eating those, well, they were that low ground in the valley that I had reclaimed, so it's, you know, essentially cattails, and it's got a lot of like decent first cutting grass in it too, and that's essentially what they're going through right now. Because of the 13 bales, they're stacked right along the guardrail. We got about half of them ran through. I've been putting these down for bedding over doing the corn fodder, because we're doing one bale of the grass right there, and we're actually putting the corn fodder into the bale rings. We're doing the ratios one grass bale to 2 fodder bales, and I'm able to actually string along our fodder usage by dumping out these bales, and they're actually going through and getting some use out of them. The big thing I'm worried about is I just don't want them getting wet. I don't want them laying on snow or mud or anything, and we're getting down to below zero, and everybody's actually looking pretty good. I mean, everyone's got their winter coats in. This is she's one of my first 2 cows, so I mean she's up there in age, and that is Mom and Dad's bull. But not much for wind shelter in here, but it's got a roof over it. For what we're looking at weather-wise, I was told we're looking at like up to a foot of snow and a lot of wind. We got Rocky. If you guys are wondering who this is, we got Rocky. Getting low on the mineral. I should probably actually bring some out yet tonight, just because I can do it first thing in the morning. Of course, I think the snow is actually going to start tonight, so that's pretty much what we spent today doing. We spent today running around trying to get everything situated for the potential of crummy weather for the next day and a half to 2 days, and keeping everything in front of these guys the best we can is pretty important. These guys are actually currently getting corn. Upped them up on corn with the mineral they're getting there. It's actually a selenium block, that green block that's in there. It seems like I can't really get away from that. I could if I actually absolutely was irritated by it. I would just go through, and I'd have to do it in all 3 of the bale feeders. I'd have to either weld or secure like a piece of cable or some kind of rod around here and narrow this up. Not even halfway, but just narrow it up so she can't fit through, because she can hardly get out when she does that. But as of right now, the feed situation is still sitting at, well, kind of up in the air. They'll go through and they'll clean this up. Well, there is nothing but stalks in here. We put bales in yesterday. Probably going to go through, or we'll have to go through and feed them again tomorrow. The grass, we had a sample taken of it, because this is the same stuff that they didn't want to eat that was in my bale feeder, and we actually had a sample taken and sent out, and protein wise, for what the stuff is, it's actually over 12% protein, wasting more than I would like to see, but at the same time it's not top tier quality. I still have about half of the hay that I have left to move. Let me rephrase that. I'm done selling. Didn't have much to sell. Half of the hay that I have left to feed, I am feeding this stuff now, and then as we get closer to calving date, which I believe is March 24th, March 25th, gonna switch over to the best, or the better quality feed. So just more or less just making sure everybody's keeping their body condition. Rocky! So probably really shouldn't do that or be so friendly with cattle like that, but it's what I do. Access to water, new water was put in this summer. Getting to where I'm gonna have to clean that out. Why did I do this? I got a gate set up so they can't get to the water on this side. The reason for that is, and I'll explain something else here too if you guys are wondering, with the weather, the wind and everything, the cattle will actually put their backs up against this water as wind protection, because I had the bulls were in here last year, and what would happen is then they would poop into the cattle water and I'd have to clean it up. Now, I didn't take the bulls out, largely just because I don't have room. I don't have lot space. I need lots. I need more areas I can go with them that has, I'm missing a tub. I need another area, or 7, that has access to water, and the bulls wouldn't even be up here at all. But protein tub, I'm giving them corn and I'm giving them protein tubs. Protein tubs aren't cheap. The corn I already had, it was from 2 years ago, and I'm dumping it in, trying to give everybody enough headspace to get to it. I found the other tub right here. Yoo-hoo! Scooch! Scooches! Hi! That's what was left in there from when I had my steers in here yet. Didn't sell my steers. They are actually out in the steer shed. Dumped them in with my dad's cows, got them vaccinated, and the plan right there is probably going to move them in about 60 days. Different feed program. So I'm running short on bunk space. This whole thing has failed. That's why there's no access on that side. That's why we're still feeding out there. My I-beams are junk. They aren't junk. It's the concrete that they are secured to has failed. The lags are completely out of them. So I was going through and I was, forking up hay to the cows. The concrete was already, it's older concrete. It's cracked here and there. Gonna have to go back and do what I did not want to do, because wood will rot away, but I'm looking at pulling, well, probably actually cutting the lags off if they're still there, and actually disconnecting that one and then shifting everything that way, because where the holes need to be done are at least where the lags are drilled into the concrete. And I'm going to bust the crete out and I'm going to put wood posts in, because I'm not going to be working on it in the winter here because everything's like froze up, but this will be up and running for next summer when we get hay up and running again. So I mean, who'd have thought this one? She is like one of my first calves that I actually had when I bought when Herschel and Myrna, this is actually technically from them, because that first round of bred cows that I bought, she is actually a heifer out of that first group of bred cows that I bought, and she was actually the first calf that I had that year. Not crazy for the horns, but any of the calves that she's had, the calf that she had doesn't have horns. He's the one I call Homer, and he's actually the nicest steer I had this year. So goals for going forward here: not run out of feed. They usually say by February 2nd, Groundhog Day. This is when most guys get a pretty good idea as to where they're sitting on their hay supplies for the year. And myself, I already knew I was going to be tight. I'll probably be sliding in sideways with my hair on fire into spring. Kind of already concerned what's going to happen is I'll be heading out sometime in May, between making or planting and everything, and making some sporadic grass somewhere and just hauling it home so I have some fresh feed for them. So they like going through these lick tubs. They're a waste of money just because for what you're getting out of them, but at the same time it's protein, and that's kind of what's been brought to my attention. All the corn that is in my bulk bin that I have left over from when my steers are out here, I'm feeding that to these guys, because what has been brought to my attention is we aren't getting a consistent well, the corn isn't consistently getting processed when we're putting it through the mill because we don't have a screen in it. We're just running the hammers. And the problem with that is you're getting a bunch of corn that is full kernels, and then you're getting a bunch that is basically down to powder. And the problem you have with that is they can't process it. There's the baby. They can't really process it that well. They can do one or the other. They can either do the whole kernel or they can do the ground powder, but they can't do both. So that's really what we're looking to get away from them. We're doing whole shell corn now, and then ideally I want to go through and get the roller mill out of the old grain room and get that up and running. So, yep, I'm froze. Talk to you guys later.